Here's a picture of the Los Angeles Public Library's bookmobile program, and this is from the year 1928. They were bringing books right to the sick. Here's a photo from the Battle of Saipan, way back in 1944. It shows a soldier taking a moment to feed a goat. Here's a photo of Franz Reichelt, and he's in his parachute suit. Here's a photo of Alfred Hitchcock and his wife Alma Reville on their wedding day. Check out this adorable photo. It's a little girl having a blast pretending to chat on the telephone. This was taken in Japan back in 1958. Doesn't she look like she's having so much fun? Here's a powerful image. It shows a liberated Jewish person, and they're holding a Nazi guard at gunpoint. Here's Stevie Wonder visiting a school for blind children in London back in 1970. Here's a neat photo of a Victorian couple. They're riding a tandem bicycle, which was pretty fashionable back in the 1890s. You can see them, all dressed up, probably enjoying a leisurely ride. Check out this amazing shot from London way back in 1902. It's a classic red phone booth, you know, the kind you used to see everywhere. Whoa, check out this picture. It's a really creepy doll, but get this, it's two-faced. Seriously unsettling, right? Here's a photo of Lee Harvey Oswald as a young Marine taken in 1956. This photo takes us back to 1952 to the Storyville Jazz Club in Copenhagen, Denmark. Looks like a cool place, right? Here's a photo of Giusto Cerruti, the Piedmontese runner. This was taken during the Tour de France back in 1928. Here's a really cool photo. It shows lumberjacks shaving with an axe. This was taken in the 1930s, a pretty wild time. Alright, check out this photo. It's a blast from the past. Contestants in the Halloween Slick Chick Beauty Contest. This was all happening in Anaheim, California way back in 1947. You know, back in the 1950s, offices were a bit different. Sometimes they actually had ice-cold whiskey dispensers. Can you imagine that? This one's called Kissing Under the Sun. Just picture it. Pure romance. This photo looks like it's from around 1930. We see the tenor, Enrico Muzio, practicing his singing while taking a bath. Alright, this is a cool piece of history. Here we see the very first Coca-Cola factory, way back in 1889. Here's a blast from the past. This photo takes us back to Google in the 1970s. Here's a glimpse into a typical American family in the 1950s in Detroit, Michigan. Alright, check this out. This is Glurpo, the world's only underwater clown. How cool is that? This photo takes us back to the Netherlands in 1931. It shows a man on the beach who apparently got himself in a bit of trouble. He's been fined for wearing indecent clothes. Guess they had different standards back then. Okay, here we go. This photo takes us back to New York City in the 1970s and the 1980s. A really cool photo from the Miami Zoo back in 1931. It shows two women, and they're actually feeding a black bear. What a sight! Here's a picture of two widows gathered for Martin Luther King's funeral back in April of 1968. Commander Richard Byrd, all geared up in a specially designed leather helmet and mask. He's wearing this get-up for his flight from Spitsbergen over the North Pole and back. Here's a photo of Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in history. He stood a whopping 8 feet 11 inches tall. Here's a picture from around the 1930s. It shows a Turkish fisherman heading back in with his catch. Here's a picture from around the 1930s. We see a young man out demonstrating against low pay for teachers. Alright, so this photo shows a black magic car ritual. I'm seeing some pretty intense stuff going on. Here's a look at a Motorola remote control from the year 1956. Here's a photo of a Royal Artillery private just posing with his little friend. This was during the First World War. Here's a sweet one. This photo shows a young girl trying to cut a sunbeam. It was taken all the way back in 1886. This photo was taken in Lawfarn, Wales back in 1959. Wendy Morse! Her father, Dave Thomas, founded the fast food chain, and in this picture you can see a younger version of Wendy. A young infant suffering from polio. We can only see the baby's head, as they're inside a tiny iron lung machine. Alright, here's a shot of a radio beach party from 1923. Looks like everyone's having a blast. Here's a heartwarming photo from the 1920s. It shows a young Inuit girl, and she's giving her adorable pet husky a piggyback ride. Isn't that just the sweetest thing? Here's a photo of a soldier coming home from war in the 1940s. Here's a photo from 1940. It shows a German soldier, and he's posing with his dog. Looks like they're ready for their picture. Alright, here's a photo of soldiers returning home after the Second World War. This one was taken in Queens, New York back in March of 1945. You can just imagine the relief and joy they must have felt, finally coming back from Europe. Here's a photo of an old prohibition sign. It's from the Anti-Saloon League, and it's clearly speaking out against liquor. Alright, so this photo shows someone teaching the physics of surfing. It was taken way back in California during the 1970s. Here's a fun one. This photo shows David Attenborough entertaining Prince Charles and Princess Anne with a cockatoo. This was taken way back in 1958. Check out this photo of inventor Joe Gilpin, looking sharp as can be, cruising on his motorized surfboard. This was way back around 1948. Here's a picture of Erika Seles, a 15-year-old revolutionary during the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. Here's a photo from 1910. It looks like a young man is taking a swing at a punching bag, but oh, he seems to have missed. Oh, look at this sweet little girl. She's pushing her doll, just the two of them, through a foggy forest. It looks so magical and peaceful, doesn't it? This is 13-year-old Dolly Parton, just hours before her Grand Ole Opry debut. Can you believe it? She's about to sing George Jones's song, "You Gotta Be My Baby." What an incredible moment. Before he died, Abraham Lincoln had a life mask made of his face. Margaret Bourke White, up on top of the Chrysler Building. This was back in 1934. Here's a photo from 1943 taken in the UK. It shows the weekly food ration for 2 people. Here's a lovely photo of Princess Yvonne and Prince Alexander, taken in Germany way back in 1955. Here's a lovely old photo. It shows a Dutch couple enjoying a stroll along the beach back in the 1930s. Here's a photo from 1954 of a young boy, maybe just a kid, balancing 2 bottles of wine under his arms. A cool photo from the 1960s showing a Bell Labs project. Looks like they were working on a video phone. Here's a shot of acrobats at the Empire State Building, taken way back in 1934. The very first broadcast of a human face on television. This was way back in 1926 in London. Here's a photo of a woman in pants heading out for a bike ride. This picture was taken way back in 1897. Here's a photo of James Stewart and his one and only wife, Gloria. Here's the 14th Dalai Lama as a little boy, just 2 years old. This photo was taken back in 1940. Alright, here's a cool one. This photo shows Richard Nixon back in around 1959 pretending to levitate. Pretty funny. Here's a look at Bruce Lee back when he was a young man about 25 years old and checking out his workout regime. This photo was taken on May 27th, 1965. Here's a portrait of Charles Dickens, taken sometime between 1867 and 1868. A classic WLW Crosley Superpower radio receiver. This device was made in the United States back in 1936. Here's a look at dog fashion. This stylish pup is sporting a best-selling trench coat, probably from Saks department store in New York. This photo was taken back on the 7th of June, 1971. Here's a photo of the glamorous Lauren Bacall, a Golden Age Hollywood actress. She's striking a pose with 2 cats, and honestly, they look more like little owls. This photo was taken back in 1940. Here's the photo. It shows an elephant helping to load supplies onto an American plane way back in India in the year 1945. This is Queen Elizabeth II, back when she was just 18 years old. Here's a photo of Jonas Salk, the man who developed the polio vaccine. His work protected billions of people from a really scary disease. Here's a creepy one. This photo shows a Soviet scientist with his 2-headed dog, taken way back in 1959. Here's a shot from the 1950s at Billingsgate Fish Market in London. Hey, don't forget to cast your rituals with your friends, but remember, 6 feet apart please. This photo's from the movie The Devil Rides Out, which came out in 1968. A perm machine. This was all the way back in 1905. Here's a cool shot of Patrick Swayze, dancing back in the 1970s.